This next story is crazy because it comes from a guy who claims that Dogman has been following him since he was young, with 2 separate incidences 20 years apart. He doesn't want to give his name, so we're just going to refer to him as Brian. Now, his first encounter takes place in 1988 in the town of Alto, Michigan, which is just outside of Grand Rapids. Brian is in elementary school, and he is outside playing at recess at about 10 in the morning. And he and his friends are playing war. And Brian decides to run into the forest adjacent to the elementary school to hide. And he makes his way to a river by some railroad tracks when he hears a huge splash. And he sees a dark-haired dogman bolt into the forest, sometimes on 2 legs, sometimes on 4, before it disappears completely. And Brian is so freaked out that he completely forgets about recess and school and runs straight home to hide in his bed. And he keeps silent about that encounter for years until he's an adult. And he describes what he saw as being about 8 feet tall and maybe 300 pounds. Blue eyes, and it seemed almost like a timber wolf, but upright and with longer legs. And that brings us to the second sighting, which takes place in a nearby town called Lowell in the winter of 2008. Brian now has a family, all sleeping soundly, until he hears a thud from up on the roof. And for whatever reason, the noises above his head spark an explosion of memories about his first encounter, bringing back that fear to the forefront of his brain. But willing his legs to move, Brian goes into the front closet where they keep a machete for protection. He grabs it, quietly slips out the front door, and looks up. And that is when the very same blue-eyed dogman pokes its head over the edge of the roof and stares directly at him. The creature leaps off the roof like 30 feet and bolts on all 4s till it gets to the tree line, where it stands up and stares back at Brian. Brian, feeling a surge of adrenaline at the idea that his family is now in danger, runs full out, wielding the machete right at the dogman. The dogman just stares at him, almost grinning, before he utters one audible word. Don't. Brian stops dead in his tracks and is overwhelmed by this weird sense of calm. He drops his machete and backs away slowly as the dogman turns around, walks into the woods, and disappears.